Hey guys, I'm down here. This is going to be my chapter review to Nanatsu. I can never say it. Nanatsu no Taizai 290, or the 7 Deadly Sins 290, the Insolent Maggots. Now, this chapter was decent. I mean, it's like the KFC I had today. I mean, like, I bought it, instantly regretted it, because it's like regret made into food. It's regret incarnated into like food. That's what the KFC I had today was like, and that's kind of what this chapter I feel like this was that kind of chapter for Nakaba. I enjoyed seeing the fight between Cusack and Ruduciel and stuff like that, as well as Chandler putting in some work. But I had some big problems with this chapter, and I've been waiting for this to occur for a while now. So, scene 1, we get Cusack versus Zeldris. Cusack saves Zeldris from getting essentially killed by Ruduciel, with Zeldris then ordering Cusack to, he's like, show these guys what you and Chandler are made of, and show these peasants what you can do, why you stand atop the demon clan, even above myself, which is Zeldris speaking. And I was pretty like shocked by this, because like we know that these two demons are meant to be really elite, but I don't think we've ever heard Zeldris. Actually, I think when they first appeared, Zeldris mentioned back then that they were stronger than he was. But for Zeldris to say again and to reiterate that these guys stand above him, it really shows how powerful these guys are supposed to be, both Chandler and Cusack. So I've been waiting for this, because so far the two elite demons haven't been mightily impressive. I mean, they've done some stupid shit, they've done some crazy shit, but I mean, like, we've seen them both get cut apart by Arthur. We've seen Chandler get damaged by King and Galtha's combo attack. We've seen Cusack getting handily owned by Meliodas, who wasn't even trying at the time. It's like, you're meant to be the teachers, the masters, the kind of, the dude in Snake in the Eagle Shadow kicking the crap out of Jackie Chan and stuff like that. I mean, like, where's that? I want to see that these guys are actually immensely powerful. That's what I wanted to see for a long time. So, and I mean, it's fair to assume that they're not at full power, which Merlin actually mentions this chapter, which is something that I'm glad she said, because I'm pretty sure whenever I say it, people always disagree. But I mean, she pretty much says it this chapter, and she says that their full power has been sealed. Now, I thought that they weren't at full power just because of the nature of them coming out of the coffin of eternal darkness, and a demon isn't usually at full power when as soon as they escape, and it takes them the time, and they have to eat souls and stuff like that to regain their strength. But she specifically mentions that both their magical powers have been sealed, and they're still strong as hell. So I'm not sure where their magical power has been sealed. Is it still in the coffin of eternal darkness or something like that? But they're not at their strongest right now. So Cusack tells Zeldris that he will surpass his masters soon enough. So he tells Zeldris, "You're going to surpass me very soon." A comment which confuses Zeldris, but for me shows that Cusack is ready to pull some dirty shit on Meliodas, or against Meliodas. So we'll come back to that eventually. I mean, like, I've been saying it for a while now. I think I said it last chapter, or maybe the chapter before that. Watch out for Cusack, because that guy's gonna pull some dirty shit, and he's gonna pull some like immensely evil crap going on in the background. I can feel it. He's gonna do something against Meliodas, and then like in favor of Zeldris, but without Zeldris wanting it to happen. We'll see exactly what goes down. So Merlin proceeds to tell us that the two elite demons are like kind of shrouded in mystery, that they'd never actually participated in the Holy War's kind of frontline fights, so they were never like that involved with the Holy War, or involved with it at all by the looks of things. Cusack and Ruduciel then have kind of this light speed skirmish, Ruduciel coming off worse for wear, with all of his clothes essentially torn apart, torn to pieces, but nothing really major. And he then lands a cheap shot on Cusack right in the gut. I mean, like, Cusack was talking. I mean, like, let the guy trash talk for a bit, but he just absolutely like demolishes Cusack straight through the gut. But this does absolutely no damage to Cusack. He just straight tanks it, no damage at all. And Cusack headbutts Ruduciel, calling him out on his limits with his vessel, which shows that Ruduciel himself isn't even at max power at this moment in time. So Chandler and Merlin then start their battle, with both firing energy beams at one another. I think it's called like exterminate ray, and they have this kind of standoff, kind of very Dragon Ball Z style, like Gohan's Kamehameha versus Cell's Kamehameha, one of those very typical situation. in Dragon Ball Z. And Merlin is obviously losing the standoff, but then enchants her attack with her innate ability, which is Infinity, overpowering Chandler's attack and winning that small duel. Now, this is where the chapter started going downhill for me. I've never really liked Merlin's really hacks ability, and against Chandler, she's winning fights just because of this one ability, just because she has this really broken innate power, which is Infinity. She can just overpower anyone essentially magically. So Merlin clarifies my previous point as Ruduciel comes flying in, damaged quite heavily by Cusack, because they continue to fight in the background. And the two elite demons had she actually clarifies Merlin. This is speaking about Merlin. She clarifies that the two elite demons had their original magical power sealed, and they are still sealed wherever they're kept. And she then basically says that they're the toughest mofos alive in the demon world, and they basically have no known weakness. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know, it's about time that these guys show us that they have no known weakness, and they should be like trampling people. That's why I bet on the fact that the demons were gonna make it out of this fight alive, because they have Zeldris, but then they have these two wildcards who we're not too sure. We've seen them, and they're meant to be. They've been vaunted as like these incredibly powerful demons, the oldest of demons and stuff like that, but they haven't really shown too much apart from like, you know, turning day to night and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, Merlin essentially tells us that these guys they have no known weakness, and she then hits Cusack and Chandler with two trap type magics, hitting Cusack with like this wind attack and then Chandler with a lightning attack, and she wounds them. And I was like, you just told, I mean, like, Ruduciel is complaining, and the reason why she says like they have no known weaknesses is because Ruduciel asks, why the hell can't I damage these guys? You know, I'm trying to damage Cusack and I can't even scratch the guy, like something's wrong with him. And she's like, yeah, they have no known weakness, and then she manages to wound both of them. I mean, it's a very small petty wound, but I still didn't like it, and I don't like it one bit. And I understand that Merlin is intelligent as hell and she has infinite magical power, but freaking Ruduciel, his grace was utilizing his grace, he was unable to harm Cusack. Merlin couldn't even take on Garan without shitting her pants essentially, and the whole forgetting the blessings she was given by the supreme deity thing against the commandments, that thing was bullshit. I never really liked that either. I mean, like, how do you forget an ability you have? I mean, like, I know it's been essentially 3 millennia since you've had to rely on that ability, but you don't just forget, you know. I mean, if you know these creatures have returned, and she knew the commandments had returned, I'm pretty sure alongside that would come the chunk of memory dedicated to, oh, I'm like a direct hack against these guys because I'm freaking immune to their commandments. They would just have to fight me 1v1 without any kind of their curse being enacted upon me. So, and then what I'm also saying is that Merlin, like I said, is a hack character, and she's giving a hacks character like Merlin insurmountable intelligence. It just makes the story feel like we're being bullshitted. It literally feels like I'm reading this, and when it's only when Merlin is concerned. I mean, Escanor, the one, he's only as powerful as that for a minute in the day at high noon. After that, someone could probably defeat him. I mean, like, there's multiple characters who could probably defeat him after high noon. But giving Merlin infinite magic and then insurmountable intelligence, we get bullshitted a lot, and I feel like with Merlin there's ass pulls galore and just a lot of plot armor and stuff like that. And these scenarios, they remind me of one particular manga or anime, and it's Bleach. As bad as that sounds, it's the constant, you know, oh, these guys are invincible, only to be followed with a cringy bit of dialogue like, we'll make them uninvincible, or some shit like that, you know, all whilst constantly revealing these sudden and new powers between the two teams. You know, it becomes very convoluted, and people will call it out, and people were calling it out this chapter, surprisingly enough. Usually there's nothing but praise for Taizai and how well it's written and stuff like that, but this time, I mean, like, especially surrounding Merlin, and Nakaba just doesn't, he seems to have like, I'm not sure how what his relationship is with his character that he created in Merlin. But seeing as Merlin is such a pivotal kind of historic character in the Arthurian legend, he seems to have wanted to create someone like, yeah, this person's going to be awesome, and then he seems to have created someone who's too awesome, and now he can't really back down on how awesome he is, or maybe he just doesn't realize, you know, there's major inconsistencies in things like Merlin shitting it from Garan and then realizing that she had the ability anyway, and then, you know, completely standing up to two guys who could demolish her for jokes. So I'm going to say it straight. Chandler and Cusack best put in some major work, because we're being told that just beneath the Demon King. They're like immensely powerful. Yet someone like Merlin can harm them at like just whimsically. She's like, oh yeah, Reduciel with your grace, you know, you're bullshit. You're an archangel and you're trying to fight one of these demons. You couldn't do anything. But I'll just like, you know, I'll just think about it for a second. Yeah, we're cool. You know, I'll damage them a little bit. And like I said, an archangel couldn't even do anything. So I'm not even mad that, you know, we didn't get like an explanation for why Chandler and Cusack didn't participate in the Holy War. There must have been a reason, and I'll let Nakaba explain that. I mean, like, once again, Nakaba's doing well with the story. I just don't like the inconsistencies in power, and I'm getting tired of the inconsistencies in power. And it's something that Nakaba's always had a bit of an issue with, and it's why I come back to the whole power level thing, and then having numerical values so that it always sets up these inconsistencies, and I feel like that's the way it's been going since those numerical values have come in. Chandler and Cusack shouldn't realistically have been touched by anyone so far, but they have been hurt by people like freaking Arthur, and it might just be that they're so powerful that they've stopped caring about if people land attacks, but I doubt it. You know, like a very Wolverine kind of character. Like, he knows he can heal, so he doesn't dodge some of the attacks that he knows he can just, you know, tank and then heal from. So anyway, Merlin is hacks. Escanor is going to grab his Rita. Reduciel is healing on the fly, and the two elite demons are giving their enemies time to breathe and think. If they get beat, I'll be mad, but I assume Merlin is going to hold up, is going to hold up the two demons while Reduciel kind of like, or maybe she's going to help Reduciel hold them down while Escanor goes and gets his day form back or some shit. But even then, you would have anticipated that a minute has passed since Escanor was in his one form. So if he goes back into his one form, I'm calling major bullshit. But I doubt that's going to happen. Yeah, and like I said, this usually I've got nothing but praise for Taizai, but I knew it was coming, like when we see that one character. I mean, like Escanor in the one form, we all kind of just let that slide, even though it's like, oh, come on, man. I mean, like he's gonna really just, in that 1 minute of like every day, he's just impossible to beat. I mean, like, it comes back to that argument of whether, I think people have argued this before, especially in the comment section, of whether the one versus would ever have been like a threat to Meliodas, in the sense of, well, actually not a threat to Meliodas. Would the one and Meliodas have like balanced each other out 3,000 years ago when Mile was the possessor of the grace, the sun or sunshine? And to be fair, Reduciel has stated that the closer it got to noon, and at noon, Mile was invincible. He's basically like, just don't touch Mile at high noon. But we don't know if Mile had the same kind of ability as Escanor does in this grace. Like, did he also assume the one form, or did he have a better control of it in the sense that he didn't just like beef out? He was just insanely powerful at that time. So I'm not sure how powerful Mile was at high noon, but we assume that Meliodas was the direct kind of counterbalance to that, in my opinion anyway, just because if he wasn't, then they would have steamrolled the demons like every time. They would have just like waited for like 2 minutes before high noon. They would have jumped into the demon's capital or some shit with Reduciel and the other two archangels, Sariel and Tarmiel. They would have waited for Mile to just beef out, then kick the shit out of everyone, because that's how you assume things would go down if they had the opportunity to do it. But you assume Meliodas would have been some sort of counterbalance to Mile, so they didn't want to risk just jumping in, especially with the commandments. Just jumping in and aiding Meliodas. And like I said, this chapter was, for the most, I enjoyed it in terms of what it was, but I didn't like the power levels, because I'm going to start calling stuff like that out in Taizai. I mean, like I said, Escanor going one for that 1 minute in the day, I'm fine with that. It's 1 minute. But Merlin having this ability of infinity, and then just like I said, paired with the insurmountable intelligence and her infinite magic, it's just not something I'm a fan of. So let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Let me know what you guys thought of this review. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And yeah, just let me know exactly what you thought in the comments. I mean, like, you guys might have loved this. It might have been completely good for you. That's cool. This is just my opinion. But yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit.